Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
We begin our program with a question of sorts from a prospective client by the name of Fran, who called in after watching this show. She asked, Tony, I keep hearing lots of advisors on the radio and the internet talking about reducing taxes on my 401k plan. I even met with an advisor who conducted a retirement class at a local university talk about ways to reduce taxes. But when I asked for more details of how they will do this, none of them really seem to want to talk about taxes, but rather all they want to do is talk about investing my money. Why is this, Tony? Well, quite frankly, Fran, here's the answer. None of this is real.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the WorryFree Retirement, with your host, nationally recognized retirement specialist and six-time author and fiduciary, Tony Walker.
Have you ever been in a situation that could be described as surreal? One you would have never, ever imagined being in, and as such, responding to this surreal moment with something like this. Surely, this can't be real. Back in March of 2020, I had one of those surely this can't be real moments when on March 16th at 5 p.m., just as I'm driving over to a nearby hotel to host a retirement planning workshop for some 60 registrants for the seminar, the radio press conference featuring our president and other government officials comes on the radio and announces that all businesses will be closed, and get this, gatherings of more than 6 people will as well. Surely, as I drove my car in disbelief, this really couldn't be real, I thought to myself. But it was real, as only 5 people showed up, 6 if you count the service dog in attendance, actually showed up for this workshop as I proceeded as best I could to provide them what they were looking for, a detailed process and how we help so many savers worry less about money. Needless to say, the none of this is real moment continued as I had to cancel the next night's workshop scheduled in Elizabethtown, Kentucky, again, one that was expecting more than 70 people who had signed up. Moral to the story, after watching this surely this can't be real evening play out, and now fast forwarding to the date of today's show, July 18th, 2023, as we reflect on this 2-year disaster lockdown, today I'm going to pull the curtain back on some financial none of this is real moments that you need to avoid in retirement. So let's get started. Welcome, folks, to the WorryFree Retirement, and yes, I am that little man in the sweater vest, none of this is real specialist and fiduciary, Tony Walker. And before we explain what is real when it comes to your money and the strategies and products you might consider to be worry-free in retirement, and which ones are not so real, let me introduce 2 folks in the Worry-Free Production Studios who are as real can be. America's favorite financial sidekick, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with Louisville, Kentucky's most laid-back graphics artist, Mr. Derek Hudson. Okay, bear with me on today's topic because this is a statement I provided following the disastrous announcement in March 2020 of closing down businesses and limiting gatherings, with this little man in the sweater vest utterly speechless as to the lack of wisdom in shutting down these businesses. And what I arrived at was this: none of this is real. Whether it's the real amount of money you think you have in your 401k plan, whether what the guy or gal is confidently boasting they can save you in taxes when in reality most of them cannot, or whether it's all the fear-mongering you're hearing about our currency and why you need to invest all of your money with those who act like they can predict the future. My response to all of this is as follows: yep, none of this is real. Which is why today I'm going to give you my real take on what is going on in the financial world and how savers can find the truth of what is best suited for them. So stay tuned. I'm Tony Walker. We'll be right back. Wondering how much money you'll need to retire? Probably a lot less than you think. I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, and for the past 36 years, I've helped thousands of savers determine when to retire and how much money they'll need in retirement, and I can help you too. To meet in person at no cost or obligation, let me invite you to log on right now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. We look forward to talking with you soon. One of my wife's favorite movies of all time fits into this none of this is real category, The Wizard of Oz. Her most memorable scene involves Dorothy protecting her dog Toto. Now, my favorite scene in the movie is when Dorothy's dog Toto slips around and pulls the curtain on what is advertised to be the home of the great and powerful Oz, revealing the truth of who Oz is, a man operating a machine of smoke and mirrors. Again, proving once and for all that what Dorothy and her comrades believed to be real was not real at all. On March 16, 2020, after spending thousands of dollars advertising 2 upcoming retirement planning workshops my firm would host in Louisville and Elizabethtown, Kentucky, a government lockdown pulled the curtain back on my world and reminding me that what I thought was real, me getting to educate over 100 people, turned out, well, not to be real at all. And seeing as though I have been in the field of finance for nearly 40 years, met in person with over 15,000 savers, and continually watched the lives of more than 3,000 saver clients play out, my conclusion to much of what we see coming from the financial world and the money we think we have in our possession, well, again, my response is, that's right, none of this is real. For instance, let's start with a quarterly statement you receive online regarding your 401k plan. Let's go back in time to 2020, right smack dab at the introduction of the government shutdown due to this virus. Do you remember what amount of money that statement you had in your 401k plan actually said? Don't remember? Well, let's kind of take a look at this. So we're assuming back on March 18th in 2020, your February balance prior to this lockdown was $300,000, all right? Let's imagine, which it did for some people, the stock market dropped 27% during this period of time, meaning you lost $81,000, but let's say you needed all the money out of that. The taxes alone on that, remember the government has a lien on this, folks, was $65,000. So what is the actual value, the real value? There you go, about $150,000. Let's dissect another none of this is real moment with the Tony in Trenches we had from Fran at the beginning of the show when Fran asked out of frustration why all of these advisors were talking about saving all this money in taxes, but come to find out all they're wanting to do is basically handle her money. In this case, to help the saver save on taxes, which is real and not just smoke and mirrors. And again, I can't speak for other advisors, but what we've done at Tony Walker Financial is set up what we call a tax planning department. So let me share with you the reality of what we do at Tony Walker Financial to help savers maximize their money in retirement by doing our best to keep their taxes as low as possible. First, experience in the field of retirement planning, which personally spans more than 20 years in focusing on retirement planning by yours truly. Number 2, a wealth of knowledge acquired from studying from the Chartered Life Underwriter Program, the College for Financial Planning, personally studying under well-known CPA Ed Slott in his elite IRA Advisor Program, and countless hours of studying taxation and its effect on financial decisions from the founder of Leap Systems, Bob Castellone. Now, that's on the personal side. What is behind Tony Walker, and who are the folks that are going to help execute the tax-saving strategies that we can offer? How do we make this notion of saving on taxes real? Well, it begins with a process, a 5-step process we call the WorryFree Retirement, which includes the construction of income plans through our proprietary software and is backed by 2 folks that are tax certified and work solely for our clients, listen, at no additional cost to our clients. Some of the free services our clients will receive from our tax planning department of Lee Ann Tinsley and TJ Reagan include RMD calculations, 72T calculations, how much in taxes will be owed upon distributions one might take from those tax-infested IRAs. What about this? Roth conversion calculations, and finally, how to build in strategies to stay in lower tax brackets as you move through retirement. So if you don't have a firm on your side, one that truly offers real tax planning services at no cost to you, then why not let us take a look at your retirement picture and lay out a game plan that includes not only myself, but a team of highly trained professionals who can make this thing called retirement real for you. To get started with us, just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and click on that Let's Get Started button. Okay, when I return, I'm going to cover one of the most unreal products ever created, a product that is, in my estimation, includes more smoke and mirrors than any financial product offered for savers. But as we'll soon find out, it's not the product that's the problem. It's the folks behind the curtain providing the smoke and mirrors to the product. I'm Tony Walker. Good stuff coming your way. I'll be right back.
Hi, my name is Heather Hughes. I'm an advisor in the Bowling Green office at Tony Walker Financial. Just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the decision to retire. That's probably one of the major decisions you're ever going to have in your life. And to have the right advisor to help you through retirement is of utmost importance. Keep in mind that you really do need to work with a fiduciary who is legally obligated to work in your best interest. Additionally, you are going to want a game plan for your retirement so you can navigate through everything. And look at retirement as a partnership with your advisor, somebody that you'll be able to work with throughout retirement. And if you have a spouse that they feel comfortable working with too. Here at Tony Walker Financial, we can do all of those things. Thank you so much.
With the uncertainty of the stock market, our nation's debt spiraling out of control, and inflation running rampant, now may be the best time to consider moving your 401k to safer territory. My name is Tony Walker, and for over 38 years, I've made it my life's mission to help savers worry less about money, and I want to help you too. To speak with me at no cost or obligation, why don't you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com or simply call the toll-free number on your screen. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement. Tony Walker here, and I recently stumbled across this survey of sorts that found many Americans apparently regretting to including investments that provided a steady stream of income in retirement, with 63% saying they would like to receive an automatic paycheck from their retirement assets. Now, the product that can provide this guaranteed paycheck is none other than a product that for years was cast in very negative light by the folks on Wall Street. But now, since this product can do what Americans are wanting, that's right, provide a lifetime guaranteed income they can never outlive, the folks on Wall Street and many others are now selling it. This None of This Is Real moment focuses on a product I've used for years called annuities. In fact, a book I wrote some 20 years ago at a time when most advisors and pundits did not know anything about the needs of guaranteed income, I shared my observations on how pensions had gone the way of the dinosaur and why these disappearing pensions, which are essentially annuities, needed to be replaced with what we have always sold. We call them private annuities. So, as you can imagine, as the financial world has now pulled the curtain back and saying basically the same thing, well, again, my response, remember, none of this is real. So let's make sure that the folks peddling annuities are truthful about the use of them and not just blowing smoke your way just to sell them. Let's start with the reality of how an insurance company, those are the folks who issue and back the guaranteed income offered by the annuity, how these folks can pull it off, and what this offer to guarantee that a saver won't run out of money, something we call mailbox money, can also come with a catch. So to take my time on this, folks, this is very important because, as I said, more and more people are selling annuities, even people who are advertising tax planning strategies or this or that. They're eventually wanting to get you to sit down and go over their finances. They are going to be talking about annuities. You can almost bank on it. So right now, the going rate for what's called an income annuity pays 7 to 8%. Now that's a guaranteed rate. So let's think about this a minute. If you can run down to the bank and get 5% guaranteed, and an insurance company is going to guarantee 7 to 8% for 10, 15 years, you got to ask yourself a question. What in the world is the catch? And folks, these products, which we sell a lot of them, do come with a huge catch. So you better understand what you're getting into. Otherwise, you might get stuck in the wrong annuity. So again, these are called income riders. And again, depending on the company, we represent several companies. They can pay anywhere from 7 to 8% guaranteed during what's called the period of accumulation. All right, this is really important. So let's say you're age 62 and you really don't need any income from this annuity. Maybe we've set up something, put this up full screen, Aaron. We've set up something, we do hundreds of these a year. It's called the split IRA concept, where we take some of your money and put it with Charles Schwab. That's your stocks, bonds, mutual funds, bank products. The Schwab account is there for liquidity purposes. But then you want this guaranteed lifetime income or mailbox money. Well, we have to go to the insurance companies and put that in an annuity. Now, not always, but in most cases, we want that annuity to accumulate. So in this example, we might decide, it's different for different people, but we might say this income annuity that's guaranteed at 7%, we're going to let it accumulate until you reach age 70. Now, why would we do that? Why wouldn't we just turn on the income? Because you got to understand something. The 7% they're crediting is deferred. As soon as you turn on income, that's what we call the next phase would be the income phase, okay? We'll tell our clients even this. We'll say, turn on income. They'll say, what? What are you talking about? They kind of forget how these annuities work sometimes. That's the phase where you say, okay, Tony, I want to turn on income. I want this mailbox money. I want this annuity to pay this guaranteed lifetime income you've been talking about. As soon as you do that, as soon as you turn on that annuity, the 7% guaranteed growth rate stops. Now, some of you might be going, oh my gosh, I didn't know that. The person that sold me this just says this thing lasts forever. Remember, with any annuity, when they start that guaranteed lifetime income or mailbox money, the interest rate used to calculate that mailbox money ceases to exist. So that's all well and good. So we'll put lifetime. So you say, how can insurance companies make money on this, though? How can they guarantee, let's say me and my wife are going to get this mailbox money for the rest of our lives? I mean, we could live a long time, Tony, couldn't we? Yeah, possibly. So that's called longevity. And then we're talking about the interest rates they earn. So the unique thing about insurance companies is they employ something called actuaries, and these individuals study timelines of when people are going to die. So while they don't know when you or me are going to die, they know in this group of people, let's say these 62-year-olds, how long the majority of them will live and the number of people that will die. So these actuaries then go back to the company, they look at the interest they can earn on your money, how long they think people will live, and that's going to be how much they're going to pay as far as a lifetime payment. Now, if you were to, let's say death occurs at age 72, okay? So let's say you waited till 70, you started taking income, you turned on that income. Maybe they were paying you $30,000 a year for the rest of your life. You and your wife had a joint income. You're going to live happily ever after. As long as you live, even if the annuity runs out of money, you will get $30,000 a year for the rest of your life. That's a lot of money, and that's the guarantee that they're going to offer you. But what if you all die in a common accident at 72? What happens to this huge bank of money that's been growing at 7%? Let's say, in fact, it had grown to $500,000. Well, at the death of you and your spouse, the $500,000 goes away. And you say, well, that doesn't make sense. What are my family going to get? That's called the contract value. In fact, let's put this graphic up full screen, Aaron. You see, with an insurance company contract like this, there's three values you got to pay attention to. There's the surrender value, the contract value, and what we've been talking about today, the income account value. And this is where there's so much confusion out there and so many people now peddling annuities that really, number one, a lot of them don't understand annuities, but secondly, and more importantly, if you don't have a game plan to properly use this annuity, you're probably going to make some serious mistakes with it. So here is my suggestion right now. First of all, you need to download Annuities Made Easy. This is a great little booklet I wrote. So if you own an annuity, thinking about buying an annuity, like the idea of this guaranteed
mailbox money,
then all you got to do is go to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on the download section, and you're going to want to find Annuities Made Easy. You want to download that. That's a great little book to read. Again, I've been working in annuities for years. I know these products very well. More importantly, as a retirement planning firm, we know how to properly position these annuities to maximize this real money that you're trying to get back to you. The other thing you can do, if you're not comfortable downloading that, that's fine. Just email Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, Gina at TonyWalkerFinancial.com, and then tell her that you'd like to have a hard copy of this Annuities Made Easy mailed to you. Be sure you provide your mailing address. We'll be happy to send you one absolutely free. Okay, what does the Bible say about this idea of pulling the curtain back to see what's real and what's not real? Well, it's a word that is mentioned throughout the Bible, and in fact, in the book of Proverbs, it's mentioned 46 times. And once you nail this word down and understand what it's offering to you, the ability to distinguish between real and not real is going to be real easy to do. Let me get another cup of coffee. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back.
Now folks, when you roll over your 401k to us, we have a 10% guaranteed return. How's that sound?
Where in here does it say we get a 10% guaranteed rate of return?
Oh, it's all in the paperwork. You just have to read it.
I don't know, honey. This looks awfully complicated.
Did I say guaranteed? Because it's guaranteed.
Don't get stuck in the wrong annuity. Get a second opinion from TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Have you recently retired, been laid off, or offered a pension buyout? Has the company you work for moved, been acquired, or closed its doors forever? And finally, do you have a 401k with a previous employer you'd like to move to safer territory? Then take advantage of this opportunity to move your 401k or lump sum pension to Tony Walker Financial. Let's meet in person to discuss your retirement options. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com to schedule your free, no obligation appointment. Let us help you today.
Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement with the money missionary himself, Tony Walker.
In the movie The Wizard of Oz, one of the most none of this is real moments is on full display when, upon finally reaching the land of Oz, a little dog by the name of Toto exposes the great and powerful Oz for what he truly is, an elderly man with no special powers at all. Can anyone say none of this is real? Of course, to me, the greatest line in that movie is Oz trying to tell Dorothy and her friends to look the other way when exposed to the real truth of his lack of powers. Sounds like the same response savers receive from the financial world when their 401k takes a nosedive when the stock market tanks. So with so many financial products and financial peddlers offering so many smoke and mirror ideas on retirement, how can a saver pull the curtain back to see if the products and services being offered are real or not? Well, that's easy. The only tool used to effectively detect reality from falsehood is the tool of wisdom. And while the world behind the curtain might define wisdom as one having good sense, judgment, or insight, I feel that wisdom is more than just that. In my own experience, I've found that wisdom must be acquired from those who are wise. For instance, God. So let's pull the curtain back on what God has to say about His wisdom and how to acquire it, where in the book of Proverbs, wisdom is mentioned some 46 times. Speaking of trying to find wisdom, earlier in the show I described all that I went in through the years to acquire financial wisdom from folks who I felt knew a lot more about money and had more financial wisdom about the financial world than I did. I was relying on Proverbs 1:5 to guide me in this quest, which basically said this about acquiring wisdom. A wise man will hear an increase in learning, and a man of understanding will acquire wise counsel. But that's not what most humans do when pursuing truth because, well, most of us tend to think we already know it all, especially as evidenced by all the folks on radio, TV, and the internet who think they know it all. So how can someone looking for God's wisdom approach God? Well, to find out, we need to go to the previous verse, verse 4, where it says, to acquire God's wisdom, we are to approach God as a child and as one who is simple in nature. In other words, in order for God to impart to us His wisdom, we must be humble in how we approach Him. You see, God's truth does not hide and work behind a curtain, but rather it is right before our eyes and makes itself evident to the humble searching for God's wisdom in two ways. First, His truth is self-evident by the many things we see around us. The list of God's truth and wisdom is certainly all around us. Just look. And then secondly, His truth is made self-evident by His very Spirit, a Spirit that Paul firmly believed in Ephesians 1:18 could open our eyes to what is the real hope of our calling in Christ Jesus. But the paradox is that in order to have our eyes enlightened to God's wisdom and to see what it is He wants us to see, we are not to look at what is seen from the things of the world. For instance, that would be that 401k statement you keep looking at, and its real value keeps bouncing around like a yo-yo, to thinking the money you see on that statement is, well, actually real. You see, friend, it is the unseen things of God as revealed by His Spirit that allows God to pull the curtain back to see what is real, that is, His truth, which is what real wisdom really is. So in your search for truth and God's wisdom, might I suggest start with the book of Proverbs and read it as a child might read it and look for the simplicity of what it reveals to you. Because in it is some real wisdom on life and money that you and I can take to the bank. Amen? Well, speaking of making things real when it comes to your money, here's my question. Do you have a real game plan for retirement? One that includes a well thought out plan of action to spend and enjoy this money before it's too late? Do you have a real trusted advisor? Someone who you can meet with in person who has your best interests at heart and not just playing around with your money and telling you what you want to hear? Well, if not, my question is, why not? Why don't you do this? Why don't you set up something we call the free 10-minute fiduciary phone call where yourself and the owner of the company, that's right, myself, Tony Walker, can talk by phone for a few minutes to see how we might help. And then after that phone call, if it looks like we can be of service to you, we're going to set up a free meeting at either our Bowling Green, Louisville, or Lexington, Kentucky offices. Or if you like, you can simply just call the toll-free number on your screen. So again, TonyWalkerFinancial.com or call the toll-free number on your screen. Well, folks, that's all the time we have for today. We hope you've enjoyed today's program. But you remember, as always, between now and next week, if all else fails, you be worry-free and make it a good one.